Hey, you have an hour this week, right?
Yeah.
Great! I can teach you how to play 100 songs on piano.
Turn down the music. There we go. What's up, everybody? Hello. Okay. So today is day 2 of the Animation Bootcamp. There were some very basic stuff last time, but today we will go into more interesting stuff, I think. And short about me, I'm a student here at CADA Trumax. My name is Owner and I'll be your instructor today. And I'll hold your hand through this process of us learning something together, hopefully. And if there's anything you're curious about when it comes to the school, or me, or the animation we're doing, or 3D in general, just feel free to ask absolutely anything. It'll be completely fine. So don't worry about that. So yeah, before we start, actually we got a question already, which is do I think AI will replace 3D artists? So I would say some people are very scared of AI, but honestly my opinion is that AI will grow the industry as a whole, because like the more you produce of something, the more people will be interested. The more people they're interested, the more demand there is for that product, and the more demand there is, well, the more jobs it'll create. So I don't think it'll get rid of 3D artists, but it might change the workflows that you're gonna have to use. And it could even create a very high demand for artists, in my opinion. And especially since, like, you know, AI won't just replace artists as well. It could just create less demand for repetitive jobs in general, and so there might be more demand for entertainment jobs in the future like that. Okay, how's everybody doing? Are people alive? Feel free to type something in the chat if you're there, if you're enjoying yourself, and maybe grab a drink or something. Yeah, and remember to download today's file. We'll start off like straight ahead into it. Last time we did a basic file first, but just download today's file and we'll get straight into it. Okay. Is there anyone that was here last time too? Or is everybody new? Either way is completely okay. I'll probably go over some of the basics again really quickly, just so everybody is with us. I'll give everybody like a minute to open up this file that you see on my screen. You should be able to find it in the description and as a pinned comment. And feel free to let me know if you're able to open it up and everything is working and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah, once you download the file, you just boom, launch it, and it should open up in this window. Yeah. Okay, so I'll go over some of the basics too for the people that weren't here last time, and maybe for people watching this as a video on YouTube in the future or whatever. So Blender, if you start in basic Blender, you'll be in this tab here. At the top we have a bunch of different layouts for whatever stuff you want to do in Blender. Blender is very versatile. Hello, hey Clarissa. Hello. Hope you're having a nice time wherever you are and whatever you're doing. So yeah, basic Blender, this is our viewport. This is where we navigate. Middle mouse to roll around, to rotate your camera, shift plus middle mouse to pan around. You got your little tabs out here, modeling, sculpting, texturing, those are really fun. But today we're gonna do animation. So that's where we're set up inside here. Okay. So, inside here, we have, today we're going to be using this, we didn't use that last time, it's the outliner. So we have a bunch of different things that are also visible in our viewport, in our scene. I made a basketball, a bowling ball, a ping pong ball for us to play around with today. And that's going to be really fun because we actually get to play around with sort of the physical properties of things. How do you make something not just a bouncing ball, but like that type of bouncing ball? And we kind of have to think about how certain things work and behave. Yes. Okay, if you remember, we have all the interesting and more complicated functions of Blender out here on the right, the settings and stuff like that. We have our timeline at the bottom. This is where we scroll through our frames. And then we have the graph editor on the left here. Yes, and we can zoom in and out if we hold control, sort of adjust it to our liking. Yeah, if there's any questions at all, people, just let me know and I'll take it from there. Okay. I set up a camera in this scene because last time people wanted to export stuff and I wanted to make it really easy for you all today, so I set up a camera. You can go into it by clicking the view, go to cameras and then go to active camera. or you can just click numpad on your keyboard as well. And you'll get right into it. Boop, boop, boop. And so basically today we're gonna make all these different balls jump across the screen. Like boop, 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 boop. And we're gonna make them look as good as we can in the time we have by using the basic principles of animation that we talked about last time. Yeah, and those principles, you know, they go for everything that you animate in 3D, and that's why we can reuse them again for these balls, even though some of them are gonna look very different from what we had last time. Okay. So in our outliner on the right, we can hide and unhide stuff, and we want to work on one ball at a time to not get ourselves confused. I think we should start with the basketball, because that's kind of a little more familiar to what we've done before. And I see people are like joining in and out of the chat, so I want this to, like, if possible, I would love for people to interact with me, and I can interact with you guys as well. Like, I'm here for 1.5 hours, and I'd love to give you like everything that I can in terms of teaching, right? So feel free to say hello or type something in the chat. You can ask me any types of questions about the school or 3D or, you know, general. Tell me how you're doing. I see a couple hearts. All heart back. There we go. Yeah, that's what's special about live instead of a video, right? Like, you can ask anything that you're curious about, and you might get an answer that'll help you out in the future. So don't be shy, people. Okay. So this setup is fairly similar to what we had last time. Up here, the top right, if you follow my cursor, you can pull this out, and then you have the locations and rotations of stuff. And then on the left, if you pull that out, we have our tools. So we can move stuff, we can rotate stuff, and we can scale stuff. Okay. I hope everybody is fresh and ready to get into it. And even if you're not following along, I hope that you can still learn something from what I'm doing. Like, these things, they're just like, you can learn the fundamentals about what I'm doing for anything that you're doing related to animation. Like if you're doing motion graphics or any sort of 2D work or something, it will still be very useful to sort that side of animation as well. And even sculpture, because I really like sculpture, and I found that learning a bit about animation helped my sculptures feel more alive, because it's all about like capturing a moment in time, right? Okay. So we select our basketball. If you missed it, I hit the other balls up here by clicking the little eye icon. You can hide and unhide stuff. They're still there, they're just hidden from our view. So we can select our little ball controller here. The controllers are what we're gonna use to deform and control our ball and animate it. So we click the ball, we go to the object mode up here, and we change it to pose mode because we want to start posing our ball. Yeah. We can use this little thing here like we did last time, and we can rotate the camera around. We can click this little thing here to go into orthographic view, which basically just means a side view with no perspective. We can click numpad 0 to go into our camera view so we can see what's going to be visible when we make our final video. So first things first, let's just get like straight into it. We can put down a keyframe, and if you forgot how to do that, it's just by clicking I. We get our keyframe options here, and then we can put in the location. And that will be the beginning of our animation for the basketball. Okay. I hope people are following along. If not, that's okay too. Just try to get something out of it, at least I would hope. Okay, and then if here, so I noticed you can't see because of my camera, so let me get out of here really quickly. Boop. So down here in the bottom right, we have the start and the end of our animation. So we can sort of decide how many frames we want our animation to be. So for now, because we wanted to jump across the screen, we need like more space than last time. So I'll go with something like 90 frames for now, and then we can always extend it or shorten it, depending on that. So you can click these small, see there's sort of like a slider. If you click the end of the slider, you can shorten your timeline. So we only see what we need to see here, from frame 0 to frame 90. And then you can scroll wheel in and out to zoom as well. Okay. Let me get back here. Hello. So let's try to make our jump in the beginning. We make it like a 20 frame jump or something. So we know we want an up pose at 20. Honestly, we can just put it in right now. Location. So from up to up, nothing is gonna happen because in the middle we want a down pose. So if you remember from last time, these are called key poses. These like key moments in our animation. So we need to put those in first before we can start refining stuff, or it's gonna get way too confusing. And right now, all I'm worrying about is the timing. So if you remember from last time as well, timing is just when the key poses happen in an animation. So right now I'm just thinking, okay, 10 frames to get down, 10 frames to get up. We can play the animation by clicking space, see what that looks like. Boop, boop. Timing feels okay. And of course the animation is very strange because the software is guessing what we want the in-betweens to be like. And the in-between is everything that's happening between your key poses. That's where we work on the spacing of stuff, which is how the movement feels. Alright. So we have a jump. Do we like the jump? Maybe. But what we need to do now is, because we want it to be jumping across the screen and we want it to look somewhat realistic, like every time the ball jumps, it's gonna lose a little bit of speed. Wait, am I? Okay, I'm back here. Yeah, so every time it jumps, it's gonna lose a little bit of height, basically, right? Because it can't keep bouncing at the same height forever. So we have this, and now we can go and edit our keyframe. So the one we just put, we can move it down a little bit. So we go a little bit like here. Then we remember location, we update the keyframe, and then we go boop, boop. Then you can click arrow down, arrow up to scroll between your keyframes. There we go. And now we can keep adding some bounces. So we can copy the down pose, you go here, Control C, and then at 30, Control V. If anything is confusing, please let me know, just write in the chat and I'll answer. Boop. Got another down pose. Then we can copy the last up pose, put it at 40, and then we need to lower that a little bit because it's losing energy, right? Oh. Then down 50. I'm just putting this with like 10 frames in between, and then we can work on the timing a little bit. Okay. I actually think it's losing too much height. It's kind of fun to make a bouncing ball one that like it keeps bouncing, you know, it's a basketball, that's what we want to have it do. So I think maybe, yeah, here it's losing way too much, so we can adjust that. These are also things you can adjust later, of course. Okay, and maybe another up pose. And this is sort of the process, right? What's important is for you all to understand the process and then eventually you'll be able to make your own animations and do whatever you want. What's important is not to copy what I'm doing, but to understand what I'm doing. Okay, put it in. Sure. And then we play it, and then we focus on the timing. It feels like it's going a little bit too fast, so maybe we just extend this out. I see hearts in the chat. I'll send some back. Oh, typical. Okay, great. We have somewhat of a decent timing. It doesn't have to be perfect at this stage, especially because we're just starting out. Feels a little bit too slow, that's okay. We just add another bounce in there, I think. Yeah, definitely. So I'll pull these back, boop, boop, and then keep adjusting. And you know, I want people to get familiar with these tools, so it's actually really good that we are adjusting stuff, so we can sort of do it a couple times before we move on to the other types of balls, before it becomes a little too unfamiliar. So I'm copying the up pose again, putting it down, and I'm lowering it a little bit. So we have this kind of boop, 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 boop. Okay. Or equal spacing. There we go. I'm just eyeballing it right now. I don't think it's super important at this stage. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. And if you want to be really meticulous about this, you know, like the further it comes, or the closer it comes to the ground, the shorter the bounces should get, right? But we're not having a crazy change in height, so maybe I can just shorten up these a little bit. Go a little bit like that, right? So we want the first bounce to be the longest. So you just sort of imagine in your head, if this was moving like it's supposed to, would the timing of stuff work out? And I think it would. Remember to update the keyframes, eye location. Alright. So I think at this stage we should add something that we haven't done last time, which is forward movement. So you go in here, and I've locked it so we didn't mess something up last time, but you go to the X location, and then you can unlock it by clicking this little lock here. And now we can move stuff on the X axis. Very exciting. So we can go into our camera view, which is numpad, or you can click up here again if you missed it. View, and then you go cameras, active camera. Went out of it because I was already in it, but view, active camera. If you're new to the stream and want to catch up or something, you can always catch up, because we have other balls here if you're new to the stream. If you just download the file that's as a pinned comment or in the description, you'll be able to catch up once we move on to these balls, but for now you can just watch. And feel free to ask questions, everybody. Okay, so I'll just sort of go to the last frame here and then move it as much as I feel like it needs to be moved in the x-axis. So we can go like this, and let's say right here we set a location keyframe. Okay. Now this is behaving strange, right? Because we saved the keyframe on frame 81 here, and now it's only moving on the last little bit, which we do not want. We want it to move throughout the whole thing. So why is it doing that? And now we get into the graph editor. I hope people can remember this from the last time. It's a very important tool in animation, and I'll get into it probably, you know what, I'll get into it right after this. So we can go into our graph editor and find our x-axis graph here. So I just click the little I to hide the other graphs. Now we can only see the x-axis. So we can see we have a bunch of keyframes here that we're not really supposed to have, because we just wanted to move from the beginning till the end on the x-axis. So we can have whatever jumping we want on the z-axis, but on the y-axis we just wanted to move in one direction. So we just go in here, select all of them, and simply click delete on our keyboard. And now we have this graph. And it doesn't look like we expected to. It almost looks like a sine curve, and that is because of the graphs. So I think graphs are really important, and even though I went over it last time, there's probably a bunch of new people here, and I don't know how many of y'all were here last time, so I think it's important that I kind of go over that again. So I'll pause this, and then I'll open up a little demo scene I have for you people. Okay. Yeah, hell yeah, Renas. Hopefully y'all can learn something. That's the goal of today. Okay, so we have our little demo scene here, and basically all I did is like what we did as well, kind of, but in a different way, right? That sounded very confusing, I'm sorry. But I just put a keyframe at the bottom, at the top, and then back down, and then I let the software interpolate between those keyframes. So it just automatically put in the all the in-betweens. Okay. I showed a video last time. If you're completely new to animation, I would recommend looking up the 12 principles of animation. I showed a video. You could potentially go on the YouTube channel and then go into live section and see what we did last time, because I showed a really nice video from our 3D Animation Essentials course. It's on the website if you want to learn more. There's some really high quality education there. So it went over all what these like principles are. So basically what we want to work on is our timing. And this is like a traditionally hand-drawn timed ball basically. So at the top we want a lot of drawings, and as the ball is supposed to speed up because of gravity, we want to space the drawings out more and more and more, so the ball moves more with each frame, so it kind of gives the feeling that it's going faster, right? Hits, it has a lot of speeds because it's bouncing back up again, and then at the top we draw a lot of frames because it slows down as it's on its way down, and then speeds up, and then boom, and we keep the cycle going. So this is basically what we have to do today with 3 different balls, and we have to figure out how those balls are going to be different from each other. And I'll try my best to make it with all 3 balls, but it should be fine. And yeah, for the people that are new, there's a file that you can download pinned in the comments, and then also in the description. So download it, and then you can follow along on the next ball, or you can try to catch up. Either will work fine, or you can just watch and enjoy yourself, right? So how does this actually work in 3D? Because we don't want to sit there and basically put a keyframe on every single frame to get the spacing that we want. So the PC interpolates for us, so it basically guesses the in-betweens or the spacing. So this is sort of the standard, and you can kind of see every single dot represents a position on a frame, kind of like the spacing we have here. So these would be the little dots. So at the bottom we have a lot of dots which means it's gonna go slow. And then in the middle we have fewer dots and they're spaced out further apart, which means it's gonna go fast. And then at the top we have fewer dots again, so it's going slow. So basically what it's doing is it's slowing. It's slow in the beginning of each keyframe, and then it speeds up into the other and then slows down again. And we can read this on our graph. The graph is sort of what tells the software what the in-betweens are, what the spacing is, where does it put each ball. So right here, this is our Z location graph we have on the left. So this is the guess it made. We put a keyframe up this high and then a keyframe down this low. And then it put the graph in between that guesses. So as you can see, the graph, it's not going up very much in the beginning. So you see here, basically it just reads the position right here. So at frame 6, it reads here, the ball is there. So frame 1 is at the bottom, it goes up a little bit more, up a lot more, and then boom, 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 goes fast, 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 and then it goes slow again at the top. We don't want that. We want to space it like this thing we saw here. So how do we do that? It's very simple. We can take a handle and we can drag it. And now we get this. What does that look like? It looks like this. So once we play this, you'll see, boop. It feels a lot more like the ball is bouncing, which is exactly what we want. We want a little bouncing ball. I'm here from first class. What's up, Not Wizard? Did you just join in, or were you here from the beginning? Or you want to catch up? There's a new file in the pinned comment, and then there's a new file in the description below as well. I hope I can teach you something new today. We're gonna do 3 different bouncing balls, so we'll talk about what makes a specific type of bouncing ball. Last time we just made like a generic one, and we'll basically do the same thing, but we'll have more control over it today. So we can actually pick what we want it to look like, instead of just doing something random or generic, even though that looked fine too. So you might recognize this from last time. Boop, and that's how we make a bounce. We adjust the little graphs. Okay, now we can go back to our scene here. Boop, boop, boop. So something that's really cool we can do is we can actually show the in-betweens in 3D. So if you click your controller, you can go here. I joined all classes, that's great. I'm glad you're hopefully enjoying stuff, right? Yeah. So we can click this little square on the right here. So into pose mode, you select your little controller. You go to the square on the right here, where the more advanced options are, even though this will be simple enough. And then you go down to motion paths. So motion path is just like this in traditional animation, like the arcs of stuff, the spacing. Oh, nice, that's great. Okay, and then we can click calculate. Okay, so obviously it doesn't want to work, which is fantastic. Okay, an issue I've never seen before, it's stacking them all up in the same area. That is absolutely not what we want. Scene frame range, update pass. Okay, well, it is no biggie at all. This should work, and it might work for you guys, but this file has been through some PCs, so I don't know. But that is not a big deal, because I was just gonna demonstrate that we'll see the same pattern that we do out here. Sort of like the graph demonstration I just did. This is basically the same pattern that will come out here. So first of all, we want to fix the X movement. So we basically want the ball to be not slowing down, because it's very slow in the beginning, and then it's accelerating, and then it slows down at the end too. We don't want that, so fix the X moment first by hiding the Z and the Y. And then we click V. Excuse me. We click V, and then we can set this to vector. And we click the other end, and we can set this to vector as well. And then we just get a linear moment. So it's gonna continue to move forward at the same speed. That's all we need to do there, pretty much. You could be a little more meticulous with that, because technically every time it bounces, it's like losing a bit of speed. But for this class of him, we'll just keep it like that for now. Did you learn something last time, Not Wizard? How did you find it? Hope you enjoyed yourself. Cool. So we want to do what we saw in the graph, where we don't want it to slow down at the bottom. We want the bottom to be the fastest part of the animation. So we can go in here and click V. V is an important key here. We can do a vector again. And now we can click G to move stuff around. And we can do that. Now if we just play the first part, you can already see it looks more like a bounce for the very first part. And now we gotta fix the rest too. So V like that, and then we get boop. So already that looks like a bounce, right? It's looking much better. I know about graph, but not much till now. Right, that's great. I mean, this will practice your graph understanding a lot. So this is probably exactly what you need. Yeah, of course, I understood, don't worry. Yeah, so try to follow along with me and just ask any questions if stuff is confusing. Right? But it really is like, some people prefer to put more keyframes than others. I kind of prefer to do a little work in the graph editor first to kind of get the feeling I want. Right. So we keep clicking, we select it, so left click, drag, select the handle, then I click V, vector, and then G, I can grab it. V, vector, G, I can move it. V, grab it, move it. I'm sure you guys should be getting it at this point. It is very simple right now, but we can do a lot with a very simple thing, to be honest. You can select these to scale, so you can get like a nicer look at what you're doing. So this almost looks like what we would expect a bouncing ball to look like, right? Boop, 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 choo, choo, choo. So we play it, and to go here again, it is numpad 0, or click view and then go cameras and then active camera. We play it, bonk, 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 bonk. And that already looks pretty good. But remember, 12 principles of animation, we can push this as much or as little as we want to using those. And now I would like to talk a little bit about sort of what makes this a basketball compared to a different type of ball, right? So if we look at our graph, it's actually not going down that much each time it bounces compared to something like this, right? And if you think about it, what is it that makes a rock, it's gonna sound funny, but like, I mean, a rock is just a bouncing ball that's not very bouncy at all. And why is it that a basketball sort of bounces more than other things, right? Well, it's just that it's the elasticity of it. So when it hits the ground, it compresses, right? It compresses, and then it gets pushed back up by itself. So every time it hits the ground, because it's so elastic, it shoots itself up so far again. And so a basketball won't lose that much height every time it bounces compared to a rock, because a rock is not elastic at all. So it doesn't have that mechanism of compressing down and pushing back up on itself and getting like thrown up basically in the air. But even a basketball will lose energy each time, but just not a lot. So that's what we're doing here. So bonk, 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 bonk. Does that make sense? I hope that's useful information. I'll give a second to those of y'all that are following to kind of get this sort of set up right now. And yeah, I'll have spaces in between where I give people time to follow along if you want to. And if there's any questions related to me or the school or 3D in general, or maybe you want me to look at something, like if something is 3D related you did, I'll be more than happy to, right? I'm doing this for y'all, because this is live, and I'd love to do anything I can for you while I'm here. That's what the time is for. Okay, great. But the loss of power, yeah, exactly. It loses height a little bit each time. And that's what we're trying to do here. Just not a lot. And honestly, this is not like a realistic basketball, because it would probably lose a lot more height. But because we're making a bowling ball and a ping pong ball, I want the basketball to be the thing that kind of loses height the least, because it will look interesting. We'll have some contrasts between like a bowling ball and a basketball, and they'll make for a fun sort of little video, right? Because this is going to be stylized in the end, but we just want to push those differences between them. That's in the end, that's kind of what a lot of art is all about, like pushing contrasts and differences. Okay, so next is the squashing and the stretching of the ball. So here we won't have any anticipation like this last time, like the balls are just gonna come flying in from the side and bounce across the screen. So if you can almost imagine, like a basketball is soft, when it hits the ground it's gonna deform, or when it's in the air as it speeds up it's gonna elongate. We wanna push those contrasts a little bit, but not too much. Boom, boom, boom. That's why balls are such a perfect example for this. And even if you like hands, arms, anything you want to animate in the future, those also have squash and stretches. But we're doing this with balls because those are like very intuitive to understand. They're gonna squash and stretch. But even if you animate this, like my hand going across, you can still squash and stretch that. Anything at all you desire. The more you do it, it's probably gonna look more stylized. So here, now we want to start squashing and stretching on 2 axes. Last time it was just up and down. So I'll go here on the right and I unlock the X axis so we can squash in multiple ways. Okay. So we did this last time too. I forgot to do it just now. We can pin it so we can see where all our keyframes are. We don't have to do that. It just makes it a little easier to see what's going on. So I click numpad 1 to go into orthographic side view, or you can click up here. Boom. I have a question, not from class. I've joined Discord, but I submitted my art, but no one reacted to my art. Alright, not wizard. Do you want me to take a look at it right now, and I'll tell you what I think? Well, but first let me know, are you looking for critiques, or are you just do you just want me to look at it and enjoy it? Because I can do both. I can give you a critique, or I can just look at it too. Maybe we can look at it at the end of class. If you want critique, I can also do that right now, actually. Okay, but yeah, anyways, we start out by doing a keyframe, because we want it at the top. It's the slowest part. It's not going to be squashing or stretching very much. And then right before it hits the ground, it's going to be squashing the most, stretching the most, sorry. And then we set a keyframe there. And this is way too much actually, because we don't want the basketball to feel that like rubbery or whatever. I almost did that because I like doing that. I like stylizing stuff like that. But we'll just kind of keep it simple for today. And then the frame where it's touching the ground, we can squash it a little bit. And keep note of how I'm sort of moving this controller in the direction that it's coming down. Because it's important to like follow those arcs, right? If I go like this, my back is gonna follow that sort of arc and then up again, and it's kind of like gonna go like that. That's making sense. So we're trying to follow the arc. Please, how can I make it better? Okay, honestly, Not Wizard, this stream is all about like educating people, and I love 3D in general, so I'll just have a quick look at it. And I think even for people that are just doing animation and stuff, this might be useful. So let's see. Which channel? Student creativity, maybe. No. Creative show off, perhaps. I see something from Ankit. He was there yesterday. Okay, I do apologize, Not Wizard. I can't find where you posted it. So like, which channel did you post it in? I'll keep going with this for now. Okay, so right as it bounces, it's gonna squash, and then it's gonna release all that energy back into it. So we wanna push that contrast a little bit. So go boop. Location. Oh, you're panda animation. Okay. Let's have a look. So you posted a YouTube video, I think. You posted, let's see, posted this. So it's like an intro, and we can take a look at all the animation. Honestly, I really like this sort of, the motion of everything is there, right? Like you got spacing down to make stuff feel like it has math and stuff. Okay, so you get a car. Alright, the biggest thing I'll say here is, I mean, it looks like your car is like, if we're talking about the animation part of it, I could talk about rendering and stuff too, but it's slowing down and then it's starting again. I don't know if that's the intention or not, but if you wanted that movement, it's important, especially with big objects, because they have so much mass, that the movement is very smooth. Because it's very difficult to stop something and then like do that stuff if you have a very heavy thing, right? So if you're stopping a car, I would expect it to like go and then start slow, like stop into it and start slow again. So you kind of gotta nail that graph of it a little bit, right? You see at the end, it's kind of like, it's like not really sure if it's speeding up or slowing down, right? So you kind of gotta decide, like, is the person pressing the pedal or not? You want to get that feeling. Are they braking really hard and then speeding up as much as they can right after? You see that? Yeah, so you gotta sort of decide and kind of get that feeling of mass in there. Heavy movements, they won't just stop or start, like they'll kind of go vroom, like accelerate a lot, and then all that mass is gonna have to stop as well gradually. I hope that's useful feedback. Let me know if there's any questions to that feedback as well. I'd be more than happy. It is intentional, sir. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think you could work a little bit about the smoothness of the stopping and the starting then, if you want to sell that. And if you want to make it more fun, because I see your models are very stylized, if you want to make it more fun, you can push like a fun movement in there, like right, maybe the car's stopping and then it's going and then, you know, it's going and then falling down, right? Oh, it's hard to start. Okay, then you gotta push that too, push the contrast, right? Really make it like and then or something, right? So make it very clear what you're trying to show, especially if it's like a stylized thing. Make it as clear as possible. Go like and then we're like that. or if it's like the engine goes out, you go and then you're really slow because it's like rolling a little bit, right? Because to me it looks like they're actually pressing the brake, which is maybe not what you want. Maybe you want the engine to stop, so you really gotta like slow into it, then if that makes sense. I don't know if my camera is picking up the quick movements, but basically, you know, I hope that's helpful. Alright, back to the bouncing ball. I'll speed up the work a little bit now because we don't have too much time to do all three, but I would at least like to get 2 of them done. Right? So we can go at the top here. We want to put a keyframe that's a duplicate of this first one we had, because that's also top position. Try your best, of course, man. And you know, like remember to have fun with it too, right? Because especially with animation, I feel like animation becomes better the more fun you have with it, honestly, right? Because animation, I mean, especially that kind of stylized animation, is all about making people enjoy what you're doing. And stuff becomes more enjoyable if you can feel that the person doing it had fun while they're doing it. So go like that, and then we squash it a little bit here. Eye, location. Oops. Numpad 1 to go back into orthographic view. Next frame we push the contrast. We go here, squash a little bit more. Next frame we push it up towards the arc. Okay, we go boop. Then here we want to put everything to 0. Left click and drag to get all of them at the same time. I insert the keyframe, go here, then we can stretch it out. One. Location, here we push the contrast. I'll just 0 them out first and then press it down. Location. So at this point I'm just going through them and then I'll check. Okay, we actually got more left to do. So 0 them out, set the location. Oops. Dook. Then at the end, stretch it out. Push the contrast. And then in the middle we want it to be flat. And maybe as it's like getting further and further ahead, we should probably squash it a little bit less, right? Because it actually doesn't have that much energy anymore as when we were starting out. So we can do that. And these are like the things you can perfect and spend a long time with. Oh yeah, and Nod Wizard, if you want to really push that funness of your animation, if it's like an old card, it's like really, you want to show, you can do stuff like, you can squash and stretch even the car, right? As it's coming and then stopping, you go, and then as it's going, you can like push it together a bit. So if you imagine this is the front and then the back, you go, if you want to press the brakes and then back out, back out. That makes sense. If they're pressing the brakes. If they're just like the engine is off, I wouldn't do that. Hello. What's up, Venom's Gaming? How are you doing? Having a nice night. So this is sort of a fun little basketball animation, but actually I think the style of it is pushed a little too far. So I'll just go in here and adjust stuff. And for the sake of my own workflow and making stuff faster, if you click this little button down here, you can make it so you don't have to click I and then press location every time. It will just do it every time you move something. And then up and down arrow to scroll through. So we just go and then we make it a little bit less extreme. Because we still want it to look like a basketball and maybe not like a gooey ball, even though it looked really fun. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. And then we can check it from the camera view as well. Numpad 0, you go into camera view, you see it, and then we have sort of a basketball bouncing across the screen, which is really fun. And now comes a massive contrast. So now we're actually going to understand how to give different feelings of stuff, right? We have a bowling ball, which a bowling ball will bounce very differently from a basketball, right? If you imagine it in your head, which is always good to do before you animate something, I imagine how will a bowling ball bounce? It'll probably go like bonk, 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 and then bounce like duk, 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 and then probably just roll or something, right? So we're gonna try to emulate that. And remember, it's all about the elasticity of it. So to select a new ball, now we have to go out of pose mode and back into object mode, because we're selecting a different object. So go out into object mode, select your bowling ball. I went out in the outliner, I unhid it, it was hidden, and then now I can hide my basketball for now. We left click it and we go into pose mode. You can click numpad 0 to see here. Okay, and now we put in our keyframes. So we have the main controller selected, we want a keyframe up here, we just go location. Then we imagine what do we want it to look like. Let's just say like frame 30. We want to put it, frame 30, we want a down pose, so we zoom in a little bit, mouse wheel to zoom, put it here. Then it's not super important, but then we don't want it to go up very far, right? We want it to feel like it gave a lot of its energy to the ground. It didn't do that thing where it pushes down and then springs back up like a basketball, because that's the difference between them, right? We want to give that feeling of a certain material. So we play it, so we can see that this is totally way too slow. So now we're working on the timing. Boop. Okay, and then let's put one more down pose. I'm selecting our keyframes, Control C, Control V over here. Okay, I think this should go a bit faster. Maybe a bit too fast, like here. And now this is like the part where this is sort of something you'll get more used to the more you animate the timing of things, because obviously things look very strange right now. But don't worry about that, like there's no secret method or something for this step. It's just you'll get a feel for it. The more you do it, you can kind of expect what it's gonna look like. So for all the people that are new, I would recommend you can start following along from this step. Even if you didn't do the basketball, you can probably follow along now. There's a file in the description and as a pinned comment. So bonk, bonk. That's sort of what I'm imagining. Maybe we can put it up a little bit higher just to make it a little bit fun. And now I have the recording on, so every time I move something, it's just gonna lock in that keyframe without me doing anything. And then I'll do a little bounce at the end, right? It's going bonk, bonk. That's what I'm imagining right now. We copy the down pose, put it here, we go. And then notice that from here to here, this is one jump, and then from here to here is another jump. But I made the timing between these two different. This is shorter than that one because it's jumping further up in the air, so it needs more time to kind of come back down again. So we go. Okay, and now we can just go straight into the graphs from here. So graph editor here, I'm hiding everything except the Z location right now. So now we're seeing what we're used to. It's sort of doing that interpolation that's it's guessing and slowing in and out, which we don't want. So left click drag and then V, and you put it to vector. Left click drag, V, you put it to vector. And we're doing this so we get that bouncing motion. I wouldn't be scared of this graph editor. You should probably try to make it your friend. It's very useful. So now we can play it back again and check the timing, spacing. So I feel like Duke to Duke. I think the last two jumps, they're actually too slow. So I'm gonna move this here and then that here. So I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm speeding up the last two jumps because I felt like the timing was a bit off. And the last jump, it needs to be even faster because it's not going up very far. So we just sort of want it to be a little, yeah, that feels better to me. That feels like it's very like, it feels like a rock almost, right? You can just go duk, duk, duk. It doesn't bounce back. And this is all about feeling, right? Animation is a lot about feeling, playing it again and again. And you just sort of feel the weight of stuff. Honestly, I don't want to push it too much because I like that, but I'll just try to push the middle one a little bit faster. Okay, I like that. Let's just go with that for now, and then maybe if there's something we can adjust it a bit later. Then we'll take our down pose. Actually, this is fine, because it's gonna roll the rest of the way, so we don't need to mess around with it more than that. Which will look really fun, because we have the basketball boop, boop, boop all the way through, and then the bowling ball just go all about contrast to make like a fun image. So we can adjust a bit here if we need to, because we moved stuff around. Alrighty, now we go and do the X movement because we want it to move across the screen. So same thing again, you unlock the X movement here, orthographic view. Actually, let's go into camera view for this one, numpad 0. And then we go all the way to the end of our animation and we put a keyframe here where we just move it on the X axis. And maybe let's not make it go all the way across the screen. So let's see it. It's doing that weird thing. Because we've got to work with our graphs. People don't underestimate the graphs. So it's remembering the X position from the previous keyframes we set. We do not want that. So what I'm doing there is control middle mouse to adjust. And we basically just delete all these keyframes. Because we just want it to go from the beginning till the end in like a linear sort of fashion. So we select these two and then we click V, vector. Now we have. Okay, it sorta looks fun. It's just coming into the screen. So you can already tell how that feels more heavy. Okay. Alright. So what I see now is honestly I don't like how a lot of it is cut out and the speed of it doesn't feel right. So I'll go here and I'll just make it like as if it's like I want it to feel like it's being thrown maybe. So we want the first bounce to be here. So what I did here is I just moved the X location at this time. Here we can put it. I fucked up something, that's okay. We go into orthographic view and we make sure this is touching the ground at this stage. So you can do GZ and then you can move down to the ground. And go boop, boop, boop. Okay, and I feel as though it is rolling way too much. Because we're supposed, like it's supposed to maybe stop rolling. So we can go like here and see what that looks like. It's a bit too much. And now we actually want to ease into it. So let's set a keyframe from when it stops bouncing. We can do location. ease into it. Let's try that, see how it works. Okay, we have something at least, we can work from here. Oh, it's going way. It's kind of fun how it looks like it's being thrown and it's sliding, but it is speeding up at the end, which we definitely don't want. So actually, let's just delete this keyframe and ease into it from all the way over here. How can I fix it? What is it that you're trying to fix, not wizard? Maybe I can help you out. Are you still talking about the car animation? I can help you out with the car animations here, it's not an issue. Honestly, I feel like it's still way too bouncy to be a bowling ball. So we can fix this. We can go to our up animation and then we just move it down because we don't want it to keep that much energy, right? So we just go G and then Z to move it down like that. Then we see what that looks like. My ball is going down base. So the base of your ball is going through the floor? Is that what's happening? There could be a couple of reasons. I think maybe what's happening to you is if we go into your Z location, are you working on the bowling ball or the basketball? It could be that you have some keyframes that are like going too far down here. You could either delete them or click the handle and then click V to make it a vector handle, and then you can click G to adjust it. It's going through the base, so it's going through the floor. Yeah, I would look in your graph editor, hide everything. I'm left clicking and then you can drag across. Right, left click, drag, so you can hide everything and then unhide your Z location and then see if you have some weird graph thing where it's going under the floor. Let's say, for example, let's say I had a keyframe here, something weird where it's doing this, right? So now it's actually going too far down, even though none of my keyframes, if I go here, none of my keyframes are too far down, but if I play it, it's actually going through the floor right here. It could be something like that happening to you. So you can select this and make it a vector. And now you can adjust this up, and then you can select this and rotate it in this case, or you could select this, make it a vector too, and then you can adjust these handles individually. Just make sure at no point your graph Z location is going under the floor. Is that what's happening to you, or is it something else? We can try other things too. So now I'm adjusting to make sure everything feels like it's actually bouncing correctly. I sort of like that, I don't mind it. And now we have something that feels a lot more stiff. I'll make it hang a little bit more because it's being thrown. Yeah, there we go. And then actually I'm gonna do something a little bit fancy here. That is what is happening. Okay, very nice. Were you able to fix it? Is it alright now? So after it hits the ground the first time, I got it and fixed. Great, fantastic. I'm so happy. Okay, so when a bowling ball hits the ground, we expect it to lose a lot of energy because that whole bouncing thing I talked about. So honestly, I'm just gonna start out by making it so right after it hits the floor, oh, this is gonna be, so I can click B and then middle mouse drag over here so we don't select this. I know what, that is too confusing. I'll just do it manually. I'll just make it so right here I go vector, and then I'm gonna make it so it's going a lot slower right after it hits the ground. So we sort of get that immediate, like, boom, it hit and lost a lot of energy. So you see how I'm like cracking the curve right here. It's basically right where it hits. No, we don't want it to speed up, so we do that. Roll this down, make sure the curve is looking like we want it to, and right as it crops. Okay, that is looking fine. It is not great, but it demonstrates the purpose. And now it is, yeah. Okay, I feel like it's going a bit too far in the end. It doesn't look like it has enough energy to sort of do that. I'll just delete this to get like a cleaner. Boop. Okay. We might keep it like this for now. I don't want to squash and stretch this. Maybe a little bit, but I might even not do it at all, just to give that contrast, because I want it to feel really like solid, right? So already look at how much, like, how different these balls feels, right? That was the goal of today, controlling it so the balls feel very different, which is exactly what we got. If we had the time, we could sort of get the bowling ball to roll as well, which would look very nice. But I didn't set it up in the right way, so maybe we'll do that at the very end. Okay, I think at this point we should move on to the ping pong ball, because we sort of already get the feeling of the bowling ball. And then we can take a video of it. I'll try to do this ping pong ball as fast as possible, because we don't have time, and I want everybody to have a video at the end, and I'll show how to do that as well. I'll still explain what I'm doing, of course. So we need to make our key poses first. So I went into object mode, I select our ping pong ball, I hit everything else, and then I went into pose mode. Click numpad 1 to go into orthographic view, or you could click up here so you can see what we're doing. I to set a keyframe location, this is where we want it to start. Go into the camera and see. Okay. Now we want to set our down pose. And the workflow for this will be sort of similar to the basketball. I'll see, now I fucked up. Sorry, didn't mean to curse. Set it up, and then in the middle we set a down pose. Take here. Now we have a bounce. Okay. And we want the ping pong ball to be somewhere like in between the basketball in terms of energy loss. Copy the middle, we set it here. Boop, boop. Okay, and then we go up a little bit. Boop, boop. I like that, and then we go down. And I'm not worrying too much about where set the key pose or the key poses now, because I'll worry about the timing in a second. I just want it to feel like it's, I just want the position of the ball to be right at this stage, and then I can worry about the timing in a second. Okay, so I'm sort of making it lose about half every time. It's not super accurate. You could spend more time on this or less. The reason I don't have to click I and put location, in case you missed it, is because I have this on, auto keying. So it just puts a key down every time we change anything. Copy, Control C, Control V, or down pose. Okay. Copy our up pose. We don't have to, but it just makes it a bit easier to see. Copy our down pose. Then we'll put like an up pose, I guess, here. So now we play it. Okay, I feel like this feels good. It loses a little bit too much energy here, so I'll move it up. This loses a little bit too much as well, because now it's gonna cause a chain reaction, right? As I move stuff, now everything feels like it's losing a little bit too much energy. And when I'm moving stuff, I'm just making sure that I'm already in a place where I've set a key to not get stuff to be really messy. Okay, boom. Okay, go. First bounce, we want it to be the longest time because it's the biggest bounce, and now we adjust stuff so the time between bounces becomes smaller and smaller. So this is sort of the timing of it, right? And just make sure that the beginning of a bounce and then the end of a bounce is about the same space between. Okay, just adjusting the timing right now. If you need a refresher on timing and spacing and all that, I recommend just going on YouTube and looking up 12 principles of animation. Or if you want like a more thorough course, there's always on the website, linked in the description, 3D animation essentials. You can go there and take a look at that as well. And of course the school I'm going to has like a whole education as well. Beginning is too slow, so I'm moving stuff again. Just adjusting. Don't be scared of adjusting stuff, like destroying work you've already done, because at this stage, if you correct it here, if you catch it here, it's gonna save you so much in the future. So much time in the future. Okay, we go like this. I think we should just call it here. Okay, it is not perfect by any means, but it is a different feeling than both the basketball and the bowling ball, which is what I wanted to demonstrate. Right, it's losing energy somewhere in between. And now we can unlock the X like we've done many times before. Click numpad 0 to go into the camera view. And then we move it across the x-axis. Go here. Okay, auto keying is on, just for good measure. Same thing that's happened before is happening. We gotta go to the graph editor. If I'm talking too fast or you're missing something, just please let me know. It's just because a little bit tight on time here. We deleted all the keyframes we don't need from beginning to end. V, boom, now we have a movement across the screen, a linear movement. Okay, and it doesn't look good, and we know why it doesn't look good at this point. It's because of our graph editor. And here it's actually easy to sort of see like an overview of how much energy it loses, right? Because we can literally see here, I'm clicking G, Y, and then we can see how much. Oops. G, Y. You can see how much energy it loses, and then I'm just gonna make all the bottom ones, left click and drag, V, make them vectors. That was cool. Boop. Okay, and now one thing I'm gonna do to make it a little more fun is I'm gonna go with G, X, and I'm gonna make these hang a little bit. I can scale this by clicking S, scale, scale. And then that's gonna make it hang a little more in the air, because it's like it's going up and then it's staying in the air for longer. Okay, I can see, I can feel. I'm looking at this little window here, by the way, and feeling how it feels. Boom, boom, boom. You know what, that is not too bad, I think. I think right here, from here to there, it's losing too much energy. Yeah, so we just take this and move it up a little bit. And these might seem like very subtle things, but really with animation it is like 1,000 little droplets, they make a lake sorta, right? Once you get all the puzzle pieces together, at the end it's gonna come together and it's gonna look beautiful. Okay, I think I like that so far. I like the timing, the spacing. So now on to the squash and stretch. So we can zoom in a little bit, scroll wheel to zoom. You select the little controller. You allow the X location to be changed. We go back here, we can pin this so we can see it. Okay. And this might go a little bit fast because I just want to finish it up and then use 5 minutes to show how to export your animation as well. And if you lost me at this point, it's totally fine. Just try to watch along and learn something anyways. And then at the end I'll show you how to export out of here. Okay, insert a keyframe at the beginning. We can squash it here. We'll do quite a lot, and then before and after we stretch it out. And we'll do a lot because it's a small ball, so we can sort of play with it. Because that's what it's all about in animation, playing with it and making it look fun. Okay. Here, and then right after the jump it's gonna stretch in the other way, and in between we squash down. Oh. Right here at the top, zero it out, and then at the end. And if you have any questions at this point, it's a great time to ask questions because we're about to finish up. Boop, and then go here. Okay, this is the top. I'll zero it out at the top, and then as it's coming down, right before it's the longest, we let it interpolate between. Squash it down. Right after, up. And now as it's going, like, it's losing more and more energy, we want to squash and stretch a bit less and less. Because it's all about the energy. The energy is what's making it squash and stretch. Okay, and then just end it with a little stretch. Yeah, for good measure, squash. Okay, now we play it. It's gonna look like that. It's gonna look really fun. Okay, now we can click 0 to go into our camera view, and lo and behold, we can go into object as well, object mode, numpad 0, camera view, oops. And now we can enable the balls that we've made, and we can play them all together. And they'll sort of look like that, which is a really fun thing. and you can kind of see all the different properties of everything, and it's very satisfying at the end if you manage to get through it all. And I hope people learned a lot about graphs and stuff in the process. So if you want to export this, we go into this little tab here called output. You go into output. These should already be set up for you in the future, but in case you're doing a different project or something, we want the file format to be FFmpeg video, and then container, I just put it to MPEG4, and then video codec and stuff, you can just leave it as it is. But the important part is right here, right under the output. You can pick the file location, the folder where Blender is gonna output your MP4. So we can just go into pictures. Actually that did not. Okay, yeah, go document and then animation video, and I can put it here. I just click accept, and then you go into view and then render, viewport render animation. But before you do that, I would recommend clicking this little button up here that's called show overlays, and it'll just hide your overlays, like show overlays, and you enable it, hide it, and then you can go view and viewport render animation. And now I should get a little video. And yeah, I got like 5 minutes left, so let me know how all that is working out for you all people. And again, if you want to learn more about animation, if you enjoyed this stream, you can go to CADA's website. They have a 3D Animation Essentials course, and on there you can read more about what that's all about, and potentially you could enjoy learning from there as well. So let's go find it. So this is the one from last time. So a very squishy generic, but also fun bouncing ball. And now we have more like specific, like they all sort of feel very different. It's kind of fun with the ping pong ball. You see it at the end, it kind of goes tuk, 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 tuk. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you all learned something today. And remember, these principles are like, they're not just useful for balls, right? Like, the difference between a very soft, rubbery arm or hand, depending on the style you want, and like maybe the arm has like a metallic, like a claw on it or something. If you want that to hit something, you need to make it feel like that's actually metal and not rubber. So you would use more principles from the bowling ball. And if you want it to feel very rubbery and soft, you do more squash and stretch. Okay. If there are no more questions, let me know in the chat, by the way, if you enjoyed today's stream and if it was helpful or not. And if there are no more questions, I'll probably call it for today. I'm happy to see you again, Download Wizard. These things are all about like, you know, you gotta keep grinding to really get somewhere, you know. It's not like a one and done thing, especially with animation. It's a whole specialty, right? Like people spend their whole lives perfecting animation. Okay, I'll just call it for now then. I hope everybody enjoyed. In 2 weeks I'll be back, same place, same time, and we'll go over the cycle again. So I'll start from the beginning. So if there's stuff you would like to have repeated or you have questions about that, you can come join us again in 2 weeks. And we'll repeat the cycle of Tuesday and Thursday, 7:30 till 5:30 till 7 Central European time. Okay, bye-bye, people. If you want to read more about all this stuff, go to CADA's website. I hope you enjoyed yourself today.